And we're live. Hello, everybody. Uh, Today I'm going to be showing you around how you can essentially update your GNOME Nautilus file explorer so that you can have custom key bindings. I've got the latest version of Ubuntu, I think it's 24.04, and for some reason the file manager does not allow you to change keyboard key bindings. It's hard coded, I'll show you that now. Some of you may have seen this before. So if I want to rename this, I'll have to use F2. And if I go to keyboard shortcuts, you see there's no real way of changing these. And there isn't a config folder or anything anywhere. I think it's actually hard coded into the binary. So I remember when I first started looking at Ubuntu, I remember the idea of actually changing a native application and then being able to install it and make a change to something like a Finder was like an amazing idea, really cool. So today I'm going to show you how to do it. It's slightly tricky, but it's just more fiddly than it is anything else. And cool, yeah, I'll start working on it now. So the first thing to do is to create some sort of temporary directory. And then first of all, you just got to install the packages manually that um, that will be used. So for instance, there is something here called Quilt. I'll go into that in a sec about what that is, but that needs to be installed. And then you actually need to install Nautilus individually like that. And then here's the cool command is when there's a command here where you can actually download the source code for Nautilus. So here it is installed. So here we have some zip files and binaries and things. And in here is the source code. So let's open this in VS Code. So first of all, the main thing you got to do before you do anything else is to use this Quilt app. So essentially, Quilt is a lot like Git, but it's used for projects specifically to do with Linux and Ubuntu. It's more awkward than Git. I don't really like it. I don't know why they use it, probably for legacy reasons. But essentially, you have to use it to track every individual file that you want to edit. So the first step is creating a custom patch using it. So we go my custom rename patch, and that should create a patch. And then if you want to edit a file, um, you have to use this quilt edit command to edit it. It's a bit clumsy. So for instance, if I wanted to change this file, I'll have to run it like that. So I'm going to find the files here and then add them at the bottom. So let's try, the first thing I want to do is get rid of the tests because this will almost certainly have tests that run that I want to disable because I'm not going to write a test for this. So what we got, yes, we got these automated tests that are running. I want to see how they are being imported. Okay, so this test thing that just runs them all in here. So I'm just going to delete everything in there. So I can't use this. I'll have to use this quilt edit. Okay, and then I'll have to probably use Vim, I guess, to save the changes. Okay, so let's see if that's added it to the patch file. That hasn't actually added it. So if I do quilt refresh, okay, then that's added it there, I see. So this is how we're going to have to do it with every file, unfortunately. Unless there's a better way to do it, please guys comment and subscribe and let me know how I can make this a little bit easier. So that's the first step. The other one is to look at the existing F2 command in the project and see where it's used. Okay, so here's, looks like, let's see where this actually is hidden in the project. So this is something to do with patches. I think this is to do with uh, this quilt app. So I'm not going to touch any of this. Um, but I'm sure this is used somewhere else where the real code is. So, okay, so this is actually in the source code now. So I think this is the one I want to change. So F2 currently, what is this? So binding action. So a keyboard value and an action rename. So I'm going to change that to, I want to use Ctrl+R. So I've got the R there. Now I've got to work out how to add the control. So there's the shift mask and the control mask here. So I'm just going to guess and put that there. But before I do any of this, I've got to do it in quilt. So let me just do quilt, edit, and then in here, and then I'll search for this. It's really awkward. And then I'll change that to R. I'll change the control mask to that. And then I think that's probably it. Control mask. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to just quit that now. And then I'm going to do quilt. Is it refresh? And then let's look at, okay, so it's got both in now. Okay, so this is kind of working, which is good. Let's keep searching along this. It's F2. Let's see what we got. So those two are going to ignore that one. We're going to ignore this one. Looks important. So it's checking the key value and then saying we should do something, and that's looking for F2. So that's rename. So I reckon we should just change this to R. But again, we need to do something to do with control. I see here there's this state mask thing that looks like it's checking that control is down additionally. So I'm just going to add that to this and make it look the same. It's not equals 0, which means it equals 1, which means it's true. Yeah, I think that will work. I think that will be fine. And there's, interestingly, another one here. What is this on? List box, get select row. This is something to do with sidebar row. I'm not. Rename bookmark. I'm not going to do anything with bookmarks. I think that's a bit advanced for now. So I think that's all we need to do. But let's go back to this and undo what I did, because I made the first cardinal mistake of not doing it in quilt. So quilt, edit, and then we want this file here, and then I'm going to search for F2. You know what, I'll actually do it again and search for F2. Yeah, so that's, yeah, so I need to do the same thing I did there before, which is to take this part and then do the double and. Yeah, it's updated there. I think that's, yeah, sorry, it's not F2. It's, I want to do it R. So we want to do the refresh with the control mask on there. Okay, I've saved it. And then let's do the refresh, and then let's check it's added all that in. Yeah. So far, so good. The other thing I want to do now, I think that's most of it probably. I'll just search for F2 generally. Ah, here we go. This is some text we got here. I reckon this, because it's in like a DOM format or XML format, is visual UI stuff. So I think we want to change this to what we're going to change it to. So I'm going to just use quilt edit, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to search for rename. Cool. So it's no longer F2. I want it to be, so what have they got? They've got shift delete. I think those arrows, those LT things. So have they got control anywhere? No, they've got the word primary. I reckon primary is basically means control. So let's go back here. I'm going to change it to R, and I think it's capital R for some reason because it's a capital M, even though you're not using shift. I think that's just their convention. Let's have a look at that actually. So go to this file thing, and we go to preferences. No, we go to keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, it's all capitals for some reason. T. Okay, that's fine. Cool. So I think that should be saving it and then quitting it, and then doing my refresh, and then checking the patch. It's good to me. The only thing would be I want to change what refresh is. Yeah, because it's got it. Yeah, I probably want to change that too. Okay, so overlay and there's refresh. So it's not Control R. I'm going to change that rather than Control R. I'm going to make it like Control B or something that I'll never use. So B. And then I'll refresh again and check whether that's actually added it. Yeah, it's added it to the bottom of the same patch, which is good. So let's just go through on these F2s and see if there's any other instances where I've missed it. So that's doing something on F2, but it's not talking about key bindings or anything, is it? No. Interestingly, this one, rename file popover. I probably was starting editing in that and then gave up. But I'll just check that now. So if I do quilt, no, that's in the PC. Yeah, so that I think is actually nothing to do with it because it's in this directory. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. Again, that's in that directory. I'll leave that alone. This is the patch file. Again, the patch file. Entry, yeah. No. And we're leaving this one alone. Okay, so I'm going to look now for the word refresh. No, actually, I'm going to do F5 because F5 is refresh, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we have this file here. We want to make changes here, so let me use quilt edit. And we want to do refresh, don't we? Change that Control R to like Control B. Oh, I'll just trust that that's added it. Is there any other F5s hanging around that are important? That's in the .pc file, so I think that's not really used. So I think we can ignore that one. Okay, I think that may be it. So I'll just do the refresh and then I'll check the patch. So I changed the the R to the B there so that it doesn't clash with the reload, which I think is the current Control R behavior. Change the UI. for both key bindings, and I've changed the code where it actually looks for the button to be pressed for the popover. I've changed the key binding there to there, and I've changed it to R, and I've changed the control mask, which needs to be done. And I've removed all the tests. Nice, I think that is probably it. So now I've got to build it, I think, which, let's see how this goes if we build it. I'll run it as sudo for some reason. Takes a couple of minutes, I think, to build. And then hopefully we shouldn't have any errors. Maybe something we've forgotten. Let's have a look. Okay, so I don't see any errors. Does that look like any errors to you? Cool, so let's try and install this and see if it works. So I think what it does is it installs it in the previous directory, and then you can just do this where it will just kind of install it. Let's see. Let's see if it crashes my entire system. Yeah, so run that. So these are the binaries that are created, the Debian packages, and what's installed. I did have the file manager open though. That probably wasn't a good idea, was it? I'll run that again. And let's see if it's changed it. So files like this. So if I go to keyboard shortcuts, rename is still F2, but has it actually changed it so that, no, it hasn't installed it? That is very strange. Cool, and we're back. So I had to essentially log out of Ubuntu and log back in for it to work. When I first ran the Nautilus file manager, it was in light mode, so I had to go into my settings and change it back to light mode, back to dark mode, and then that seemed to rejig it. But now if I right click it says rename as Ctrl+R, and if I do Ctrl+R, rename, and if I go into preferences, no, I keep doing that, settings, yep, you'll see that rename is now Ctrl+R, and refresh should be remapped as well to, yeah, refresh view, Ctrl+B. Cool. So if you like this and you want more, please comment and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to go over. Okay, thank you.